Well, I do have some things that we're doing on the horizon. Like in 2008, we feel like the Lord. I'm part of a team with all of these different things where we work in teams, and so we have 7 or 8 people that have been working on the School of Apostolic Pioneering team, and we've gotten together at different points and tried to plan and project and stuff like that. And we felt in 2008 that God was telling us to try to get one ongoing soap school training on 5 different continents in 5 years. So the goal was that by 2013 we would have 5 soap schools running on 5 different continents. So I was able to start the one in India, and now there's a leader named Sunil. And Sunil I've been working with over the last 4 years, and he's actually leading the school this year for the first time in India. And then in 2012, my wife and I are going to move to South Africa for 4 months, and we're going to run the soap school in South Africa for the first time, with the intention of raising up African leaders to keep running the school. And we've done that actually in Idaho in the United States and North India, and now next is South Africa. And so hopefully by the end of 2012 and 2013, we've had another continent, whether it's Europe, South Africa, or Australia. So that's the goal, is by 2013 we have 5 soap schools that are running every single year. And so I feel like we're probably 3/4 of the way there. I think that that's an important step, because we're always focusing on the future. The other thing about the soap school in India, which has been my principal project over the last 4 years, has been there's 13 ministries currently that are running and ongoing ministries that have been started as a result of the training that we run in partnership with other ministries, churches, and stuff like that. So these are ministries that are going right now that we can visit today in different parts of India, mostly in North and West India. So I think that is really important, because it says that we're not just spinning our wheels. Now we can actually visit ministry locations that have been started, in parts through the ministry that we're running. So there has been fruit, I should say, with the soap school, the School of Apostolic Pioneering, and some of the other things that we're doing. And even our work here as well is expanding. The grocery assistance, we're reaching more people, after school tutoring for kids, and English as a second language. We're starting a new ministry in partnership with Central Christian Church called Celebrate Recovery. If you're walking through this neighborhood, you're looking, probably the majority of people have some kind of addiction. That's one of the principal issues in this neighborhood. And so we're starting new programs like this, especially to help people, break free from their addiction. So everything is growing, bigger, better, expansion, and so that's what we're going for. And so in some ways we have been successful, but not successful enough. So.
Is there ever enough?
No.
Who are your heroes and why?
I have a few different heroes that I look up to. I think Gandhi is actually one of them. I really love him. He started a passive-aggressive movement, and I think we need a little bit more people like him in our country. Very violent country. When you go to other countries and come back to the States, you find kids running around with plastic guns or whatever, and it's shocking to people that aren't from the States. Yeah, but we are a violent country. All I gotta do is turn on television, like Ultimate Fighting Championship. I'm not saying I think that we should outlaw it, because it's a free country. It's like not censorship.
I don't watch it.
Any of those types of things, but it does demonstrate this value that we have, this of violence and that kind of thing.
People respect the guys who win those tournaments as being more manly than others.
Right.
Than you or I.
Right. And it's not even necessarily a Christian versus non-Christian. I have a lot of Christian friends that watch this kind of thing, but I went to one pay-per-view thing, and there's like one guy on the ground, he's like tied up like this, and another guy's just elbowing him over and over and over in the head. And I'm just like, man, this is awful, and it just seems so.
And that everybody was cheering.
Oh, of course, yeah. Every blow was like another cheer. I mean, it seems like a mob mentality almost, like in the South, and during slavery times and stuff when they would form mobs and they would
During Jim Crow.
during Jim Crow time period in the South or whatever. It just seems like the mob comes out of people, and it's almost always violent. But yeah, so I think.
So you respect Mohandas Gandhi for his
Gandhi.
well, Mahatma is a title.
Okay.
It's kind of like Pope. It's
Sure.
It means
the blessed one, enlightened one.
enlightened one. So his name was Mohandas. So you respect him because he was such an advocate of nonviolent change.
Yeah. Yeah, and he started a movement, and he valued women, which was totally unheard of. He valued low caste people. The same as Dr. Ambedkar, which is a low caste person that helped to write the Constitution in India. He valued the people that traditional Indian culture didn't value, and so.
In the Christian world, the least among us.
Yeah.
In the Christian way of saying it.
Yeah, definitely, and so like I really respect those types of people that stand up for the people that have no voice and that kind of thing. So Gandhi was definitely one. Also the villager in India, like the people from the city had all the power, and Mahatma Gandhi was like, India is the villages, and at the time it was like 75% of the population living in the countryside, and so he also gave a voice, tried to give a voice to those types of people that would never otherwise.
I think he did. I think the Congress Party is largely made up of the village, has the voice in the Congress Party because of his influence.
Yeah, definitely. I also admire, Martin Luther King Jr. I admire Nelson Mandela, Mother Teresa. These kinds of people I would definitely admire just for the influence, the wisdom that they had, the people that they were. And the main thing is that they led by example. They didn't just talk a bunch. They didn't have great messages that weren't backed up by their lives. Like Teresa being an example. She didn't talk that much. She didn't have a great, sophisticated message. But she just lived it and lived in simplicity and said, "This is the example. Follow me and do what I'm doing." And was an inspiration to people in that way, rather than do what I say. Do what I'm doing. And I try to emulate that. I try to lead through example. I try never to tell people what to do or to expect that they would do something that I'm myself not willing to do. Like I clean in this building here. I clean the bathrooms. We have work duties where everyone has to step up and clean out the offices. There's not one person who's exempt or can say, I'm the boss or something like that. I'm one of the 3 leaders in this ministry, but yet I don't try to lord that over people or anything like that. So,
if you could change one thing about YWAM, what would it be?
I have a lot of different things, but I'll focus on one thing especially, is our organization started as a short-term outreach organization. So we would have trainings for 12 weeks and then 12-week outreaches. And so what happens in our organization is people are in a 3-month or 6-month cycle all the time. So after 6 months, they'll have training and then outreach. And then they come back, and then another training and another outreach, and then they come back and another training and another outreach. And they're caught up, and we are caught up in this 6-month kind of lifestyle as a short-term missionary organization. But I really want to see our organization transition, because to effectively implement transformation, long-term dedication and perseverance is required. An example is this neighborhood. We really need people that are full-time focused on this neighborhood and don't take off for 6 months at a time or 3 months at a time and then come back. And then when they come back, leadership has changed and different people are in charge of the same ministry. And there's no congruency. There's no
continuity.
It's very difficult to gain the momentum that we need to really see the transformation in a neighborhood like ours. So, there's ways around that, and that's what we're really focusing on, and that's bringing volunteers and actually giving the volunteers the capacity to lead these ministries and gain the momentum. And hopefully they're not the types of people generally that leave for 6 months and then come back. They're people that are from Las Vegas and live here and stuff like that. So that's one thing. And
So you'd like to see a more permanent cycle to your efforts.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Would you apply that to the overseas ministries as well?
Well, the key with overseas outreach is that you plug into the long-term work that's going so that they can give continuity to it. And if you don't do that, it's like the parable of the sower just throwing seed on the gravel or wherever. You want to make sure that you tap into what the long-term work is. If you're not doing that, you're not being effective. But yeah, so I feel like we need more people that are able to give us examples of long-term transformation. In our organization, we are one of 3 or 4 different ministries in the United States doing this kind of work. We have a lot more people doing this transformation or community development types of work overseas or even in Mexico and stuff like that. But here in the States, we don't have that many examples, and so we're kind of pioneering, kind of the first 3 or 4 ministries in youth with mission in North America that are doing this kind of work. So we're learning a lot, and we're failing a lot. Every time I go and come back, I find something that I started is kind of like English as a second language. I was gone for 4 or 5 months, and I came back, and there was just maybe 3 or 4 students coming. And then I came back, and then it grows again, and then I'm leaving again, and then by the time I come back, maybe there'll be 2 or 3 students again instead of 10. So it's at least it's continuing, but it really requires people that are dedicated and are willing to be in it for the long run.
On the other side of this camera is the entirety of humanity, all 6.7 billion of us. Let's pretend for a moment that they're actually going to watch this video. Yeah, right. But let's just pretend for a moment that they were. What would you say to us?
I don't have anything new to say, but I would say this. Do unto your brother as you would have do unto you. Put other people before yourself, and bless people, and put them before yourself. Follow the golden rule.
Thank you. If I could give you any superpower, only one, which one would you select?
I think it would be is there a superpower that's like this super communication power? Like, for example, House. If you've seen the show House, when it comes to any ailment, he just knows everything.
Zeroes in on what it is.
Zeroes in. He he can go through 5 different hypotheses about what the ailment could be, and he always seems to come up with the right answer, or that kind of thing. Or Jack Bauer is the same in 24. So I think I would pick the superpower of just understanding people's minds and the solution to those things. Like, even if I could read someone's thoughts, doesn't necessarily mean I would have the answer, but it would be like the superpower would be just to always have the answer, or to be able to find the solution.
Thank you very much for meeting with me today and consenting to be interviewed.
Yeah.